The sun rose gently over the misty lake, painting the water in shades of gold and pink. Old Mr. Harlan adjusted his worn fishing hat and smiled as he watched his son, Thomas, load the truck with rods, tackle boxes, and a cooler full of sandwiches. Beside Thomas bounced young Jamie, Harlan's 10-year-old grandson, buzzing with excitement. "This is going to be the best fishing trip ever, Grandpa," Jamie exclaimed, his eyes wide with anticipation. Harlan chuckled, his voice gravelly from years of storytelling. "Every trip with you two is the best, kiddo." Thomas hoisted the last bag into the truck bed. "Dad, you sure you don't want me to drive? Those roads to the lake can be bumpy." "Nonsense," Harlan replied, patting the steering wheel. "I've been driving these roads since before you were born. Hop in, boys." And so they did. 3 generations piled into the old pickup, Harlan in the driver's seat, Thomas beside him, and Jamie in the back, chattering non-stop about the giant bass he was sure to catch. People in town often talked about the trio. 2 fathers and 2 sons, they'd say with a wink, knowing the clever truth. Harlan was the grandfather and a father to Thomas. Thomas was a father to Jamie and a son to Harlan. Jamie was the young son. Just 3 people, but fitting the description perfectly in that delightful, mind-twisting way. They arrived at the lake just as the fog began to lift. The air smelled of pine and fresh water. Harlan led the way to their favorite spot, a quiet cove where the fish always seemed to bite better when shared with family. They set up the chairs in a row, Grandpa Harlan on the left, Thomas in the middle, Jamie on the right. Rods cast into the water, lines bobbing gently with the breeze. At first, it was quiet, the kind of peaceful silence that only comes from being surrounded by nature and loved ones. Jamie fidgeted, checking his line every few minutes. "Patience, son," Thomas said softly. "Fishing isn't just about catching fish. It's about waiting, watching, and enjoying the moment." Harlan nodded. "Your dad's right. I remember teaching him that when he was your age. He'd squirm just like you are now." Jamie grinned. "Did Dad ever catch anything big?" "Oh, plenty," Harlan said, his eyes twinkling. "But the biggest catches weren't always fish. Sometimes it was a lesson, or a laugh, or just a good story." As the morning wore on, stories flowed like the gentle current. Harlan told tales of his own father, taking him fishing in this very lake decades ago. Thomas shared memories of his teenage years, sneaking out with friends but always saving the best trips for his dad. Jamie listened raptly, imagining himself as part of this long chain of family adventures. Then, Jamie's rod bent sharply. I got one. Thomas jumped up to help, steadying the boy as he reeled in a feisty perch. It flipped and flopped on the line, shimmering in the sunlight. "First catch of the day," Harlan cheered, clapping Jamie on the back. Not long after, Thomas felt a tug. His line went taut, and after a good fight, he pulled in a decent-sized trout. "Nice one, son," Harlan said proudly to Thomas. Jamie beamed at his dad. "You're the best fisherman, Dad." Thomas laughed. "Wait till you see Grandpa. He's the real expert." The hours passed with easy conversation. They talked about school. Jamie was struggling with math, and both Harlan and Thomas offered tips from their own experiences. They spoke of work, Thomas's job at the mill, Harlan's retirement filled with woodworking. And they dreamed aloud about the future, Jamie wanting to be an astronaut, Thomas hoping for more trips like this, Harlan simply wishing for health to see his grandson grow. Around noon, Harlan's rod finally dipped. He reeled slowly, expertly, drawing in a large bass that put up an impressive battle. "There we go," he said calmly as he netted it. "That's the one we've been waiting for." Jamie stared in awe. "Grandpa, that's huge." The 3 fish lay in the cooler, Jamie's perch, Thomas's trout, and Harlan's bass. "Perfect, one for each." As they packed up in the late afternoon, the sun dipping low, Jamie asked, "Why do people call us 2 fathers and 2 sons when there are only 3 of us?" Thomas and Harlan exchanged a knowing smile. "It's a little riddle, Jamie," Thomas explained. "Grandpa is a father, to me. I'm a father, to you. So that's 2 fathers. I'm a son, to Grandpa. You're a son, to me. So that's 2 sons. But really, it's just us 3. Jamie thought for a moment, then burst out laughing. That's tricky. Like magic. Harlan ruffled his hair. Family is a bit like magic, isn't it? Overlapping in wonderful ways. On the drive home, with the cooler of 3 fish between them, the truck filled with contentment. They stopped at a roadside diner for milkshakes. Chocolate for Jamie, vanilla for Thomas, strawberry for Harlan, just like always. Back home that evening, Thomas's wife, Emily, prepared the fish for dinner. The table was set for the whole family, but the 3 fishermen shared proud glances as they recounted the day. Only 3 fish, Emily teased, but you 3 look like you caught the world. Harlan raised his glass. To family, the best catch of all. Thomas and Jamie clinked theirs against his. To family. In that simple moment, surrounded by laughter and love, the riddle made perfect sense. 2 fathers, 2 sons, but one unbreakable bond spanning generations. The fishing trip wasn't about the fish, it was about passing down stories, patience, and the quiet strength of togetherness. Years later, when Jamie had a son of his own, he'd take them to the same lake. And the cycle would continue, 3 people, 2 fathers, 2 sons, endless memories.